Alrighty, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Daily Roundup. Are you there? Let me make sure. Why is it turning? I am just trying to turn my microphone around, make sure you guys can hear me okay, without wrecking everything. I don't know if I've explained to you guys my microphone. It's the way that my desk was built. It's braced onto my desk, but where it's braced onto is not the most secure thing. And I have to come out with a jigsaw and cut a couple pieces of wood to get it to brace well. I just call me lazy, I guess. I haven't got around to doing that yet. Anyway, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. Let's talk a little bit about the markets and where we're at. So the cable is pushing all-time highs. I'm so sorry, 52-week highs, and we are pushing up against really key resistance here. We were having this discussion in the chat room about how bullish the cable price action is, and I mean, there are obviously people selling up here, but there's been more buying than selling. And that's why, you still have buyers that are obviously aggressively buying up at these levels. Makes you think, is a deal about ready to get done? Because when you're just pushed up against resistance, and I live by the old adage, things look most bullish at resistance and most bearish at support. But regarding the cable, we're up here, and it's not because it's just, it's price and, there's no reason for it. There's a reason. I mean, there's the biggest thing that's lingering in the market right now from a currency standpoint is Brexit. And is a deal going to get done? So when we're nudged right up against resistance ahead of, potentially a major announcement, is it signaling to us that the cable may break out, and we might get a positive, announcement soon? I don't know, but I'm going to say this: I wouldn't want to be short the sterling right now. I just wouldn't. That's not saying that that the pound won't go down. I'm just saying for me, I wouldn't be comfortable doing it. I am long some pound, but I'm long pound New Zealand. This is my. I did buy this last night, and I'll show you why I bought it. And it was small, and it still is small. It's not a big position, so just understand that. We were near this 127% extension. I'm like, okay, well, I can, I can buy it down here last night and then put my stops below 127% extension just to kind of mark a level, because I was bullish the pound. I just wasn't sure how I wanted to play it. And the euro pound came down quite a bit, and I'm like, I don't want to trade that on the short side. I'll just buy some, pound New Zealand. I got up this morning and I was up like, 80, 60, 80 pips, because it fluctuates quite a bit. Since then, it's screamed up towards resistance. Now, this is a false breakdown area. You guys can probably see it. I mean, this blue line right here, we are above the breakdown point. And so if anything, I can play this a couple of different ways in my head. Yeah, we get positive Brexit news, and pound New Zealand is off to the races probably. Brexit deal gets done, this thing will scream up to 193 and higher. Possibly after that. If we get a little bit of risk off here, I know that's a joke, but it's not. Let's say we get some risk off. Maybe the pound New Zealand screams higher because of that. So I'm not worried about this one. I'm just kind of playing it relatively small. I did buy some dollar Canadian earlier here at 85. Just ahead of this support. I think this is pretty big support down here. But the thing about the dollar Canadian, it is trading heavy. It's trading very heavy, and that does concern me a little bit. And I mean, if you look at like how the dollar has done against the Kiwi, You know, I'm surprised that the dollar Canadian hasn't bounced back yet. I'm a little nervous about the dollar Canadian, and I'm playing the dollar Mexican peso on the long side, but I bought this at like 88 or 86. Uh, and so it's fine. You know, I just don't know if I'm going to be in these by the end of the day if they don't turn higher. That's the thing that really concerns me a little bit here. But with stocks as strong as they are, it's going to be hard for them to turn higher. Both the you know, the U.S. dollar Canadian and the dollar Mexican peso. I don't have a whole. I don't have. I'm not giving it a lot of room down here because I don't think we should trade below this 128.50. But you know, I'm still risking some, and that's, you know, like, you can't make money if you're not risking money. So you gotta take on little risk here and there, and that's one that, you know, I'm willing to do, at least for right now. But I will reiterate, I don't think it's acting well. You know, I'm long euro yen, and I pulled off euro yen yesterday, a lot of it at 126.48. If you guys don't recall, if you were in the chat room, you would have known that. I sold a little bit up here. I am going to add back to the euro yen, and what I was looking at was maybe a move all the way back down to 125 and change. Excuse me real quick, I need to sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. It is windy here. It's crazy. Anyway, what I'm thinking is we're going to come back down to here, or maybe even a little further. Optimal if you pull all the way back to 125.20. That would be optimal. I just, you know, I don't know if it's going to make it all the way back down there, but I do think that you know, we could pull back a little bit. So I'm kind of trying to be patient with that particular pair as a result, before I add back what I sold yesterday. But I'm still riding the euro yen. It's been a nice move higher. I just want to see it continue to capitalize. You know, I tweeted about the euro, and I'm going to you know, reiterate kind of what I tweeted. And if you're on the face webinar this morning, you already kind of knew this, but I thought we'd hit this 121.68. That was the resistance here. High today is 74. We've come off, you know, about, you know, 30 pips or whatever. I'd love to see it, you know, drop back below 121 and then, you know, bounce. That's what I'd love to see. I don't know if we're going to get it, but I'm hoping we get it. I do think the euro is bullish, and I do want to buy dips. I don't want to be long the euro dollar at these levels, but at the same time, I don't want to short it, because a lot of times you guys will ask me, well, hey, Blake, if you're long, or if you don't want to be long the euro, why don't you just short it? And my answer to that question is always, if I have a bias, I'm better trading in the direction of the bias than against it. So in this case, I'm bullish the euro. I don't want to short it. So I'm just not very good at counter trend trading when I have a strong bias. And right now, yeah, as long as we're above 120, I'm bullish euros, you know, for the most part, almost, you know, against every currency, minus the sterling. But I'd rather buy the dip than try to, you know, short the rally at this point. I think it's got a lot of momentum. And it just stopped where it should. Sorry about that. Intraday, it stopped where it should, but I think we could continue to drift maybe, you know, lower. And if this happens, then, you know, we might see a bounce in the dollar Canadian, we might see a bounce in the dollar Mexican peso, that type of thing. But that, just some food for thought. Remember, we do have the jobs report tomorrow, so it makes sense that you would see a little bit of paring back of dollar positions, especially dollar shorts, ahead of the jobs report. That's not necessarily meaning that, you know, that the U.S. jobs report is going to come in weaker than expected. That means that, you know, people have made probably a ton of money this week being short dollars, and you might see a little bit of profit taking. So you might see a little bit of a dollar bounce, as a result. And you can see here, just, on an hourly basis, the dollar index might, give us a little bit of a recovery before we head back down, going into the end of the week. Anyway, that's just a few of my thoughts regarding the dollar. The S&P, here we are, back at the highs. I don't think we should be bearish, but here we are once again struggling at this resistance. We might be in a wedge, so maybe the S&P comes back down again. That's possible. Obviously, we get an announcement on Brexit. That's not going to happen. We should blast in the new highs. Also, pay attention to gold. Gold really rejected resistance, previous support, current resistance. Not saying that that's going to hold, but maybe gold, pulls back a little bit before we eventually make a move higher. I'm kind of thinking that's going to be the case, but we'll see. We'll just see. But let's see, anything else that I really wanted to discuss today. That I can think of. Oh, you know what? I've been trying to buy this all day today, and I'm kind of irritated that I have not got filled. And I was 10 pips from getting filled, and then I didn't get filled. This Aussie New Zealand, this is if you guys don't recall from yesterday, if you look at the candlestick analysis of the Aussie New Zealand, that was what they call a piercing line formation. So where's my Aussie New Zealand? Okay. You got these two black, or in this case red, candles moving lower, and then you get one big white candle or green candle moving higher. It's a piercing line, and we're getting the follow through today. I was trying to buy dips down at 104.70, and I didn't get triggered. I mean, the low is 104.75. I had a bid out all night in the Aussie New Zealand trying to get long, and it's bouncing. But I'm playing the New Zealand short through the Euro New Zealand and the Pound New Zealand, so it's kind of my proxy short on Kiwi. But that's how I've got it, how I'm playing it right now. But I do think that the Aussie New Zealand looks like it could bounce back to 106, if you ask me. All right, guys. Hey, I want to thank you all for your continued support with ForexAnalytix. You guys know I appreciate it. And I mentioned this on the Face webinar, but I'm going to mention it again. If you guys are around next Friday, the interview that we're going to have is Amir Dullah-Shahi. And let me show you something. For those of you that don't know who he is, and he may be listening in right now, he may not be. He's in our chat room. So Amir is an amazing person. He's been a client of ForexAnalytix since the inception of ForexAnalytix, but even for me, a client of mine with the previous company for many, many years. This is an old Baltimore story, police investigating Middletown stabbing of Amir Dullah-Shahi. And he's in a really, and here's another from 2011. God, I can't believe it's been 9 years already. I've known him for about 15 years, and it's amazing what this man has been through, and he has recovered really well. He's been an amazing force in our community, and just an amazing human being. And I want you guys to hear his story next Friday because, as I mentioned on today's webinar, on today's Face webinar, he's a guy that he's persevered through so much in his life, and especially over the last 10 years, that, and I mean this when I say it, I don't know how I don't know if I would have survived what he had survived. mentally and physically. He's an amazing person, and so blessed to have him part of our community, at the ForexAnalytix community. Many of you that are in the chat rooms don't even know who he is, or you know him, but you don't really know him. And he's got an amazing story that needs to be told from time to time, because it's the story of perseverance on the highest level. And so, yeah, if you guys are around tomorrow, I really would love, or tomorrow, I'm sorry, a week from tomorrow, which would be the 11th, December 11th, make sure you guys are here. He's amazing. And he's, you know, I have nothing else to say other than I'm excited for you guys to be around and listening. Jason says, hey, I agree, Blake. I heard the story when you were with Wise Trade. He is truly blessed. He really is. He's amazing. And he's in our chat room still, you know. Dakovic said, Blake, what about the Aussie dollar is going to meet resistance at 74.50? Well, you know, we're almost there. So we're at that 127% extension. Do I have enough guts to short it up here? I don't. I think if it dropped back below like 74 cents, I'd be a little bit more apt to short it. Maybe find other things to short it against, you know, maybe like buy some Euro Aussie or something like that, right? Jason also said, Blake, you did a great service helping him as well. You have a big heart. Hey, thanks. You know, thanks, Jason. Not many people know that part of the story, or some people do. I mean, but yeah, I just want to I want everybody to know what he's been through with him and his family. And his wife has got to be, well, I've met April. I've met her in person. She's an absolute sweetheart of a woman, but my wife would have stuck with me through that. But I bet you, when you hear the story, you'd probably go, you know, whether you're a man or a woman, you'd probably be like, yeah, I don't know if my spouse would have stuck around. But she did, and that's pretty cool. All right, guys. Hey, I'm gonna let you all go. Have a great afternoon. I actually have to run and go grab some eggs because we're out of eggs, and my son wants some eggs, so I gotta go do that really quick. So I have to do COVID shopping around other virus carriers. See you guys. Have a great one. Thank you so much for all the support and tuning in.